Hello, friends. I'm so glad you are here with me again today. Today is Wednesday, and it's our third day of meeting together this week. So far, we've talked about Abraham. Do you remember anything about the story of Abraham? Tell your mom or dad. I hope that you also did a picture for our sermon on Sunday. I can't wait to see all your faces when we watch service on Sunday. It's going to be such a great thing to see why you guys think it's important that Jesus died for us. I can't wait to see it. All right, so today we're going to talk about a really fun story. It's one that I know a lot of you know about, the story of Joseph. Okay, there's lots of things that go on in this story, and so we're going to talk about all those things today, and I'm really excited about it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to sing a song. It's kind of a long song, but it's to the tune of London Bridges, and it's going to be pretty easy for you to learn. So we're going to sing it together, and it goes through the whole story of Joseph. So it does take us a little bit, but it's going to be great because it's going to help us remember that. All right, you ready? Here we go. Joseph's father had many sons, many sons, many sons. Joseph's father had many sons. Oh, what a family. Joseph's father loved him the best, loved him the best, loved him the best. Joseph's father loved him the best. Oh, what a family. A coat of many colors was his pride, colors was his pride, colors was his pride. A coat of many colors was his pride. Oh, what a family. All his brothers were so jealous, were so jealous, were so jealous. All his brothers were so jealous. Oh, what a family. His brothers threw him in a pit, in a pit, in a pit. His brothers threw him in a pit. Oh, what a family. Egypt bought him as a slave, as a slave, as a slave. Egypt bought him as a slave. Oh, what a family. God caused a famine in the land, in the land, in the land. God caused a famine in the land. Oh, what a family. By then Joseph was a mighty man, a mighty man, a mighty man. By then Joseph was a mighty man. Oh, what a family. His brothers came to him for food, him for food, him for food. His brothers came to him for food. Oh, what a family. Joseph forgave and fed them all, fed them all, fed them all. Joseph forgave and fed them all. Oh, what a family. That takes you through the whole story of Joseph. We'll sing it one more time at the very end. And now let's talk about Joseph. I have a book. It's Joseph's Colorful Coat that I'm going to read you, which is one of our stories from the Bible. All right, now Joseph, the story of Joseph is found in the Old Testament. Everything we've been talking about so far has all still been in the Old Testament. We will get to the New Testament later on, but for right now, we are in the Old Testament. All right, let's read about Joseph. Long ago, Joseph's father Jacob gave him a colorful new coat. This made Joseph's brothers angry. Joseph was younger than his 11 brothers. Why does he get a new coat and we don't? Grumbled one brother. He's always the favorite, complained another. One night, Joseph had 2 dreams. In the first dream, 11 bundles of wheat gathered around Joseph's bundles and bowed. In the second dream, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed to Joseph. When Joseph told his brothers about the dream, they were angry. Do you think we are going to bow down to you? They said. Soon after, Joseph went to find his brothers. They were still angry with him. When they saw him coming, they said, "Let's kill him and pretend a wild animal attacked him." But brother Reuben tried to save him. "Let's just leave him here in this empty well. If we tear his coat, Father will think he is dead." Yikes. Just then, some merchants came by, riding on camels. They were on their way to Egypt. Brother Judah hatched another plan. Let's sell Joseph to the merchants as a slave. And that's what they did. The brothers went home and showed their father Joseph's torn coat. Jacob thought that Joseph was dead. He was very sad. But Joseph was on his way to Egypt to be sold as a slave. Joseph became a slave of one of the king's officers. For a long time, he was happy and trusted by his master. But the master's wife tricked him, and he went to jail. Two men were in the jail with Joseph. The first man said, I had a dream. What does it mean? I squeezed 3 grapevines into the king's cup. Joseph said happily, God knows what your dream means. In 3 days, the king will send for you to be his servant, his wine servant. The second man said, I have a dream. What does it mean? I had 3 baskets of bread, but birds came and pecked at the bread, he said. Joseph said sadly, God knows what your dream means. In 3 days, you will die. Both dreams came true. Then, one day, the king had 2 dreams. In the first dream, 7 skinny cows ate 7 fat cows. In the second dream, 7 scraggly cornstalks ate 7 strong cornstalks. When the king told his dream to his wise men, they were puzzled. But then the king's wine servant said, I know someone who can tell you what your dream means. His name is Joseph. Remember, the wine servant was the man that was with Joseph in prison. The king sent for Joseph. He said, I had 2 dreams. What do they mean? And he told Joseph his dreams. Joseph said, God knows what your dreams mean. 7 fat cows and 7 strong cornstalks means 7 years of good harvest. 7 skinny cows and 7 scraggly cornstalks mean 7 years of bad harvest. Oh no, what will we do? Asked the king. Save wheat from the good harvest to feed the people during the bad harvest, said Joseph. The king was so pleased that he put Joseph in charge. For 7 years, the harvest was good, and they kept some wheat. For the next 7 years, the harvest was bad, but the people had plenty to eat. Far away, Joseph's brothers and father were hungry. Oh no, what will they do? They cried. We will go to Egypt. They have plenty of food, said Jacob. After a long journey, Jacob and his brothers arrived in Egypt. They bowed down before the man in charge of food. Imagine their surprise when they looked up and saw Joseph. Joseph was pleased to see his father and brothers after all these years. The dream he had had all those years ago had come true. All right, so let's talk about it just a little bit more with some different pictures. Okay? All right, so Joseph had brothers. He had 12 brothers, right? Okay. Now, he came from a huge family. Okay, there were lots of them there. But even with all of those different people that were in his family, his dad loved him the most. He would give Joseph special gifts. One day, his dad gave him a beautiful coat. This coat was made of lots of different colors. Do you have a favorite color? Joseph showed his brothers his new coat, and they were very jealous. What does it mean to be jealous? Jealous means they wanted what he had. They did not like that he had it, and they wanted it. One day, Joseph's brothers became really mad at Joseph. Do you remember why they became mad at him? There was the dreams that he had, that things were bowing down to Joseph, and his brothers were like, no, we're not going to bow down to you. All right, so that they were really mad at Joseph, and they were mean to him. They threw him into a well, which is a big hole in the ground usually filled with water. Joseph was scared. But instead of hurting Joseph, they changed their mind. They decided to send him far away from home. As a large group of people were passing by, they sold Joseph to them. He was taken from his family and his home to a faraway land. Okay, so here is where they threw him into the well. I would have been scared too. Wouldn't you have been scared? So he was taken from his family and they took him to Egypt. How would you feel if you had to leave your family and go to a new place to live far away, but your family didn't get to go with you? What do you think that would feel like? Joseph was probably feeling the same way you would feel, scared and sad and lonely. Joseph finally arrived into his new home. His new home was Egypt. He got a new job. He had to take care of a man named Potiphar. He took care of Potiphar's home. Joseph was in charge of everything. Potiphar was a really rich man. He took care of Joseph. So Joseph took care of his home, his business, and all the people that worked for Potiphar. But one day, Potiphar's wife tricked him. And remember that story, the part in the story where she tricked him and then he had to go to prison. They put him in jail. Potiphar became mad, and so he sent Joseph to jail. Joseph was in jail for doing the right thing. Joseph was once again probably cold and lonely and sad at first. So Potiphar's wife tricked him, and because of that, even though he was doing what was right, he had to go be in jail. But God was using that. He was using Joseph being put into different situations in lots of different ways. Joseph was in jail for a while. He met a baker and a cupbearer. They were people that worked for Pharaoh, the leader or the king of Egypt. They both had dreams. Joseph helped them. He told them what the dreams were about. Both men left the jail, but Joseph was still there. After a while, Pharaoh had a dream. No one could tell him what the dream meant, but the cupbearer remembered Joseph in jail. Joseph was sent to see Pharaoh. Joseph told Pharaoh what the dream meant. Pharaoh made Joseph a ruler in Egypt. A big famine was coming to Egypt. A famine is when you don't have food. So that was the dream. They had 7 years of lots and lots of crops, and they were going to have 7 years of famine. So not very much food was going to grow. And because Joseph was able to help them know that, they were able to prepare for that. So remember, a famine is a time when no gardens grow and there's very little food for people to eat. Once the famine started, Joseph's brothers and father came to Egypt because they needed food. So they came to Egypt to find food. They stood before Joseph. Joseph knew it was his brothers. Joseph could have been really mean to his brothers. Think of all the things that they had done to him. He could have been mean to them. But was he mean to them? No, he was not. Instead, he told them who he was, and he gave them the food they needed. Joseph also had his family move to Egypt so that they would have a new home with lots of food. So in this story, there's lots of things we can learn from. But one of the things that stands out to me is that Joseph was put in all these bad situations, but every single one of those situations, God was using him. So sometimes things happen in our lives that we don't really like, but you know what? God is using it all for good. All the things that we have going on, God is using them for good. So let's sing our song one more time that takes us through the story of Joseph, and then we will be done for today. All right, you ready? Joseph's father had many sons, had many sons, had many sons. Joseph's father had many sons. Oh, what a family. Joseph's father loved him best, loved him best, loved him best. Joseph's father loved him best. Oh, what a family. A coat of many colors was his pride, was his pride, was his pride. A coat of many colors was his pride. Oh, what a family. His brothers, all his brothers were so jealous, were so jealous, were so jealous. All his brothers were so jealous. Oh, what a family. His brothers threw him in a pit, in a pit, in a pit. His brothers threw him in a pit. Oh, what a family. Egypt bought him as a slave, as a slave, as a slave. Egypt bought him as a slave. Oh, what a family. God caused a famine in the land, in the land, in the land. God caused a famine in the land. Oh, what a family. By then Joseph was a mighty man, a mighty man, a mighty man. By then Joseph was a mighty man. Oh, what a family. His brothers came to him for food, him for food, him for food. His brothers came to him for food. Oh, what a family. Joseph forgave and fed them all, fed them all, fed them all. Joseph forgave and fed them all. Oh, what a family. I hope that you enjoyed this story with Joseph today. For our craft today, you get to make Joseph. So I colored my Joseph with his coat of many colors, but you can decorate it however you would like. You may use markers, you may use glue, you may use crayons, whatever you have in your house. I want you to make a Joseph. And remember that God uses people no matter what situation it is. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.